As a British gentle person, I'd like to inquire you Republican fellas, the dwellers across the good old duck pond, how exactly does it fit in your conservative values that a man praises how stunningly grab-babble his very own daughter is, after he paid her boob job when she was still under the age of consent? And what's even more interesting, he has publicly complained how it's a shame so he can't grab him darling daughter titties. And this sexually promiscuous man is friends with the criminal Kremlin pedophile. A man even more of a sexual deviant than the daughter drooler of an orangutan who grabs women folk by the twat. I reckon no British woman wouldn't want to shake hands with that absolute twat of a guy. As he still doesn't quite grasp the concept of grasping your hand instead of your vagina, as he refers to the entirety of women as the vaginas. Unfortunately, he does strike me as an awful man who keeps buku many vaginas he has shaken his tiny, yet presidential hands with. On the other side, where the sun rises, his best friend, the pale, hoary-headed dwarf, is an absolute rapist of children. What's more, he once did such a strange thing on the blood-red square, as a young president, that an investigation had to be started in order to find out whether our good old Vlad is batty for little boys wearing those. I would rather be a Russian T-shirts. Is not such a mighty good look now, is it? What's your 50 cents on the topic at hand, my dear listener? But before you do, please see Kissed by Vladimir in the link below. I am not just pulling this odd ostrich stuff out of my arse. So you see, anyone with any common sense left sees that Putin's behavior around children is very alarming indeed. What's more, when he was asked about his actions with the small boy, he said he liked how innocent and absolutely vulnerable he seemed. So he just wanted to cuddle with him like a pair of kittens do. What a vomit-worthy wombat, I dare say. Do excuse, my dear listener, this sir cannot muster any longer, and must go puke his guts out now. Top of the day and tip of the hat from Yorkshire, as I sink my tuskers into more issues pertaining our wonderful world of who knows. That is bobbing brickheads. Well, after all said and Putin blasphemies vomited and pooped all out and done, I'm just an artificially intelligent man, but at least English at that. Please do enlighten me, out of English countryside sensibilities. I need your comment, my dear pudding boys, and alligator wrestling Alabama men from Alligator, Mississippi, to please be kind enough to leave your alligator swamp washed hoof marks in the comments section below. This is Sir David Blackadder's World wishing you an ever so cleansing puke in the comments section below. Cleanse yourself, my good folks, of that alligator meat. Just puke it all out, let the alligator swim to the freedom of the sewer and trump into drug rehab in prison. But not to be an absolute bore, I must end with a joke. What is the deal of the female Prime Minister of Finland? She went and done rubbed her darling twat against a man's leg while she was high, illegally prescribable hard drugs. And what about the time she ignored her work as a Prime Minister when she was sloshed off a darling little fanny? She just came out saying, so what? Is Finland a professional country? This is the Prime Minister, and this a gig from a long-time stand-up professional, a guy who tells jokes about how hot-headed Muslim refugees are, and shows himself to be worthy of his joking word. Whereas concerning the dancing girl and the Trump of the fine land, she has been dubbed, much like the new Trump of Argentina, Javier. Both have cult-like following. Marin and Trump both have dabbled with hard drugs on camera. During the filming of Shark Tank, Trump was repeatedly seen snorting lines of a white powder into his sinus bloated nose, and as a consequence seen hosting high on fascist drugs. Sanna Marin was caught on camera being clearly high on something while rubbing her darling muffin against a man's leg while the crowd made several references to drugs of the powdered kind. This is called the Finlandization of Finland. She dared to get caught partying out of her head on chemicals in a country where even the amputated are made criminals for buying just a gram of cannabis in order to relieve their amputation pain. And she came out saying, I have a right to have some fun, as if she was in a Cyndi Lauper act. She is a populist co-turner that she truly deserves the Trumpian heights of and those of the white man's powdered demise. Good riddance. You see, due to sharing a long border line with Russia, Finland has learned to navigate politics between Russia and the West without getting anyone upset, which has led to Finlandization of Finland. Finland's geographical location and historical fear of the next Ukrainian-style invasion of their country being sliced into yet smaller scrapnels has rendered them yes men. Thus the Socialist Democratic Party of Finland was built, the SDP. One famous one with a Swedish-sounding surname meaning Raspberry Halonen and a Russian first name Darja got to lead the entire country. Despite having known the Kremlin upside-down sleeping pudding dwarf but personally as a young girl. To no one's surprise, during her presidency Russians acquired purchases of key military land by her Putinist Highness's approval. Then another with a Swedish surname came. She dared to get caught partying out of her head on chemicals in a country where even the amputated are made criminals for buying just a gram of cannabis in order to relieve their amputation pain. And she came out saying, "I have a right to have some fun," as if she was in a Cyndi Lauper act. She is a populist co-turner that she truly deserves the Trumpian heights of and those of the white man's powdered demise. Good riddance. And just like the People's Communist Republic of China, the country just north of northern Dorkistan is pushing large numbers of refugees into the United States. The former Soviet comrades of Russia are doing the same to Finland as we speak, and the same with Chinese fentanyl in America as with Russian drugs in the hands of underage Finnish youth. Communists love poisoning people, just like Vladdy, who is batty for small boys, loves poisoning people who investigate him on being the Kremlin pedophile. And Trump eating women where the money's at, the savvy business hunts the man has. Farewell for now. Now here's the long-hinted clip of Marin's powder-marinated loins being rubbed, after which we see a professional stand-up comedian lose it completely, and not in a Michael Richard Kind way trying to play a role. The first word you hear is wit, which means a salivating lime-marinated body part. Marin is grinding like Tony Hawk. Stay well, Marin gay. Zotow. There, John Hoey, could I possibly have one more glass of that marvellous sherry to go with a strawberry Fraser?
Finnish Prime Minister Sanna Marin says that she's taken a drugs test in the wake of a video of her partying being released earlier this week. Now, this is the footage that's doing the rounds on social media. She and friends, including Finnish celebrities, are seen dancing and singing. She attracted criticism from opposition parties and told a press conference on Friday, "Never in my life have I used drugs." At 36 years old, Ms. Marin is the youngest Prime Minister in the world. Or Robert Sundman, a journalist and political...
Yep, certainly a professional country for sure.